Hi, this is Greta Caruso, and today I'm going to talk about Death of a Salesman and the American Dream. This recording will be useful for anyone studying Death of a Salesman, but most particularly for students of English in Victoria, Australia, who are looking at the context of Whose Reality. So before we start, I want to pose a couple of questions. Now, the first question is, what is the American Dream? What are the components of that dream, or the parts of it? How do we define it? The next question that I want you to think about is, how does that apply to Arthur Miller's book, play, Death of a Salesman? And the third question is, why is that relevant? So, the first thing I want to talk about is the phrase, the American Dream. I advise my students actually not to use that phrase, certainly not more than once, in any essay that they write about this play. The reason for that is that it becomes what we call a hackneyed phrase. It's used so often and so widely that it doesn't really have much meaning. What I want people to do, though, is think about what that might be. So, the American Dream is something that is a phrase that perhaps grew after World War I, maybe, developed after World War II, when America comes out triumphant. Now think about the components, the economic components. American manufacturing on the rise, American made was a great thing, Detroit was pumping out cars, American enterprise, making money, the stock market, Wall Street, all of those financial and economic considerations, part of the American dream. The social part of it, the belief that anybody could become the next president, that everybody was invested in America. Everybody was a part of it and could buy into the success of this country. There's then, I guess, a political side to it. The sense of entitlement that America owed you, maybe you owed America, but that you were entitled. You had rights. The right to a gun, maybe the right to vote, the right to earn a living, certainly. The right to work hard and make something from it. That was also a part of the American dream. There were sort of individual and personal factors at play here too. Every single individual could bring that into their heart and into their home. They could get appliances, they could get a television, maybe a colour television at some point. They could have a car, they could live on in a house, have a front yard. Everyone would be happy. The wife would wear an apron, maybe. The husband would have a job. We've all seen these TV shows and these images and these advertisements. So the American dream is about optimism. And there's something fantastic about that. There's also something fundamentally delusional about it. Not everyone can get to the top of a pyramid. That's why it's a pyramid. People who believe in the American dream are people all over America, from rich and poor, black and white, but maybe some more than others. So when we talk about the American dream, we talk about personal aggrandizement, personal accumulation of wealth, whereby people can get more and have more, whereby they can work hard, they can set up an enterprise, and it will be successful if they just believe in it enough and if they just work hard enough. It's a belief in the payoff, that there will be a payoff. Now, it might seem kind of not an unreasonable thing for many people, this American dream. But if you transport yourself across the world or across time, there are a few times in history where an entire nation of people felt that they would work hard and they would acquire and they would do well and their children would do better than them, that they could build something. That being an entrepreneur, having a business, selling things, being commercial was everything. So I think that's one of the key things when you talk about Death of a Salesman, when you write about Death of a Salesman, is to try to extrapolate, try to explain what the American dream is and how it's got anything to do with Paul Willie Loman and his family. What has he been promised? What entitlements does he feel he has? How come after working so hard he feels he has so little? Whether or not he has so little is perhaps a matter of interpretation, but he certainly feels that he has been betrayed. And the thing here is that he internalizes it. He takes this out on a lot of people around him, but most particularly himself. And that ends with his self-destruction. So there's a few ideas about the American dream. You need to think about what it might be. There's lots of films you can see, starting with a film about greed. Greed is good. Enron, the smartest guys in the room. There's lots of films, Great Gatsby even, about what this dream might be and what might be wrong with it. And because we're talking about the context issue of whose reality, that's a big question, you need to put it inside that context. So whose reality is this that the American dream is going to pay off, that you are owed, that you will be given? If you put in your fair share, you will be able to take out what you are due.